Britney Spears. She was 9 years old the first time millions of people watched her perform. By 17, she was the best-selling teenage artist in the world. By 25, cameras were parked outside her house every single day of her life. And a courtroom had just taken away her right to make her own decisions. Britney Spears didn't lose her mind in 2007. The world just finally started watching what fame had been doing to her for over a decade. Britney Jean Spears was performing before she could really understand what performing meant. Dance classes at 3, talent shows by 6, a spot on the Mickey Mouse Club by 11, alongside a handful of other kids who'd later become just as famous and just as scrutinized. In 1998, Baby One More Time didn't just launch a career, it launched an industry built entirely around one teenage girl. Her body, her image, her every move treated as public property before she'd even finished growing up. She sold over 100 million records worldwide. She was, for a stretch, the most photographed woman on the planet. But here's the part that gets left out of the highlight reel. Nobody asked a 16-year-old if she wanted that job. By her early 20s, the tabloid machine had turned on her completely. Her marriage, her divorce, her parenting, every part of her private life became a headline. And the headlines were rarely kind. 2007 is the year most people think they know Britney Spears' story. It's usually told as a punchline. It shouldn't be. A young woman, hounded daily by adult men with cameras, going through a custody battle in full public view, had a very public breakdown. And instead of privacy, she got a media circus. Instead of help, she got mocked on late-night television. In 2008, a court placed her under a conservatorship, a legal arrangement that handed control of her finances, her medical decisions, and much of her personal life to her father, Jamie Spears. It was supposed to be temporary. It lasted 13 years. For over a decade, Britney kept working. New albums, a 4-year residency in Las Vegas that grossed well over $100 million. From the outside, it looked like a comeback. From the inside, she'd later say, it felt like a cage with a stage built into it. Fans started noticing things didn't add up. Cryptic Instagram posts, a voice that sounded like it was asking for help between the lines. A movement grew online. They called it #FreeBritney. For years, people called it a conspiracy theory. In 2021, Britney spoke directly to the court herself, describing the conservatorship in her own words as traumatic. The #FreeBritney movement wasn't a conspiracy theory after all. In September 2021, her father was removed. 2 months later, after 13 years, the conservatorship ended completely. Freedom, it turned out, wasn't a finish line. It was a starting point. For a woman who'd spent 13 years being told, legally, that she couldn't be trusted to run her own life. In 2023, she published her memoir, The Woman in Me. In her own words, finally, after 2 decades of other people telling her story for her. It sold millions of copies in weeks. But the years since haven't been a clean redemption arc, and it wouldn't be honest to pretend they were. In March 2026, Britney was arrested on suspicion of DUI in Ventura County. She went to rehab. In May, she resolved the case, pleading guilty to a lesser charge and accepting 12 months of probation. In January of this year, she posted that she will never perform in the United States again, citing what she called extremely sensitive reasons, details she has chosen so far to keep private. That's her right. Not every part of someone's healing is owed to the public, even when the public spent 25 years believing it was. There's no tidy ending here. And maybe that's the most honest thing we can say about Britney Spears. She's not a cautionary tale. She's not a comeback story either. Not yet, not fully. She's a 50-something-year-old woman still figuring out who she is, after spending almost her entire life being told who to be by everyone except herself. A biopic based on her memoir is already in the works, with Britney herself closely involved this time. Her story told with her actually in the room. Britney Spears became famous before she was old enough to understand what fame would cost her. The world spent 13 years deciding it knew better than she did. She's still here, still figuring it out, still hers. If this one made you see her differently, hit subscribe, because behind every famous face, there's a story worth telling with a little more care.